It's Miss Preller here with your skills block lesson of the day. For today's lesson, you won't need any supplies, just your pointer finger and to follow along. Today we're going to be reading our new Decodable reader, Josh and Chip at the Farm. And in this book, Josh is the character that we've read about a bunch of times. He's the rat, and Chip is that orange cat that have been in a lot of the stories, and they go on a little adventure. Now, our target for today's lesson is using evidence from the text. I can answer questions about the story Josh and Chip at the Farm. I'm going to sing our engagement text song, and I would love it if you would sing along with me. Gather round together and listen up well. We're going to read a story that you can retell. When we read the story, you will grow. At the end, you'll say back what you know. So based on the target and based on that song, you should be thinking about what we're going to be doing. And according to the target in the song, we're going to listen to a story. And then after, we're going to be answering some questions about the story that checks if you are understanding. Now, the story looks like this. So as you notice, there's no pictures. So I always say for these kinds of stories, you want to make the pictures in your mind. So sometimes friends close their eyes when they hear the story and they try to picture what's happening. Our engagement text is Josh and Chip at the farm. Are you ready? Josh and Chip are hanging out in the alley. What are you going to do today? Josh asks. No plans, says Chip. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Chip has an idea. Let's go on a trip, he says. To where? Asks Josh. Anywhere. We can sneak on a bus and see where it takes us. Josh thinks this is a great idea. They head to the street just in time to sneak onto the bus, along with their human passengers. Josh and Chip crawl under an empty seat and wait. The bus stops. Some people get on, some people get off. They wait and wait. Then they finally decide to get off the bus and see where it has taken them. They look around. There are trees everywhere, and no tall buildings like they have in their neighborhood, and no people. Where are we? Asks Josh as he looks around. And what is that? They both look at a big red building with a white roof. I think I see animals in there, Chip says as he looks closer. Josh and Chip have never been or even heard of a farm. Let me show you around, says the farm cat. Josh and Chip follow her to a big red building. They find out it's called a barn. The farm cat shows them a big, round, snorty animal called a pig. He lives in a pen and rolls around in the mud, says the farm cat. Then she shows him the chickens. This is Mama Chicken. She's a hen and she lays eggs. Then they see a farm rat. You have rats here too? Asks Josh. Oh yes, says the farm cat. The whole rat family's living in the barn. Josh says, when we first got here, I thought the farm was so different from our neighborhood. In some ways it is. But in some ways, it's the same, too. In the dark, it gets dark, so Josh and Chip decide they should probably try to catch the bus and go back to their neighborhood. They thank the farm cat for her kindness. They promise they will return another day when they feel like taking another trip. The end. So, boys and girls, I hope you were able to picture in your brain what was happening in that story. Now we're going to have a comprehension conversation. Comprehension means that you are thinking about what happened, what was read to you. Did you understand what was going on? My first question is, at the beginning of the story, what do Josh and Chip decide to do? Now remember, our learning target was to use evidence from the text. So I'm going to be flipping back and showing where we find our answers in the story. So, according to the story, Chip has an idea to go on a trip. They were feeling bored, and then Chip came up with that idea. Oops, I already answered the next question. It says, whose idea is that? It was Chip's idea. When they first get off the bus and look around, what do they see? So I'm going to go back. Okay, so I'm looking for where it says they get off the bus. They finally decide to get off the bus and see where it has taken them. They look around. There are trees everywhere, and no tall buildings like they have in their neighborhood, and no people. Where are we? Asks Josh as he looks around. And what is that? They both look at a big red building with a white roof. So what are they seeing? Well, they see a lot of trees and fields, and they see that barn. What animals does the cat show them? Do you remember? It talks about the snorty pig and the hen with her eggs and the rat family. My next question is, at the beginning of the story, it says that Josh and Chip sit in silence for a moment. What's another way to say sit in silence? You might say sit quietly. You might say no talking or voices off. Or you might say it was quiet. The cat shows them a snorty pig. What does the word snorty tell us about the pig? The word snorty tells us that kind of describes the noise that pigs make. Pigs kind of snort with their noses as they eat and things like that. They breathe through those noses and make that kind of snorty sound. So snorty is a describing word. It's describing a noise. The author writes that the pig lives in a pen. What must a pen be? A pen is a fenced-in area where animals live. They have all their different little fences, and different animals live in different areas. When we read our book later, you'll see a picture of a pig in a pen. Okay, my next question is, do Josh and Chip know where the bus is taking them? How do you know? Okay, let's look in the story. Do they know where the bus is taking them? Well, it says right here, to where? Asks Josh. Anywhere. We can sneak on the bus and see where it takes us. So when they first get on that bus, they actually don't know where they're going. That's why it's part of their adventure. And at the end of the story, Josh says, when we first got here, I thought the farm was so different from our neighborhood. In some ways, it is, but in some ways, it's the same, too. How is the farm different from the neighborhood? How is it the same? Okay, well, remember that their neighborhood is a city and they live in an alley, so there's lots of tall buildings and lots of people around. And a farm is more spread out, more land. It's got a barn on it. So a farm is quite different than the city. But there were some things that were the same. Do you remember something that was the same? One thing that was the same is that both places had that rat family. We're going to move on to our second learning target. We actually have two targets. Target number one is I can read the decodable text, Josh and Chip at the farm. We're going to use all the strategies we've been working on in our reading groups. And our second target is I can blend, which means to sound out tricky words in the story. So when we get to a word we don't know, we are going to sound it out. Let's practice that sound it out strategy before we read the book. So I'm going to model on my first word. First, I'm going to think about each letter and the sound it makes. G, e, t. Now I'm going to sing it because I really find that helps my ears hear the word. G, at, get. Did you hear it better when I sang it that second time? Let's do the next word together. Ready? Think about what B says. U and S. Now let's sing it together. B, us. What word did you hear? Bus. Good work. Let's do this word together. Remember that this is a digraph and CH together says ch, ch. What does A say? What does T say? Now let's sing it. Ch, at, chat. Good work. Okay, I'm going to have you try this word on your own. Remember to sing it. Did you sing pen, pen? If you did, great job. And how about this word? Did you sing pig, pig? If you did, great job. Remember, the pig lives in the pen. Now, there are two sight words that are going to come up in this book that we haven't gone over yet, so I'm going to go over them now. They are actually very similar because they end the same way. They end with E-R-E in both words. And the E-R-E is saying air in these words. So we have there and where. Notice that in there, there's the TH, and in where, there's the WH, making the w sound. So we've got there, where. You read them. Good. So we know the E-R-E is saying the air sound, so you just really got to pay attention to that beginning sound. If you see the TH, say there. You see the WH, say where. Now let's sing our decodable reader song. Now we'll read a story with letters that we know. Get your finger ready to follow the flow. When you see a word, we'll stop and look and get our mouths ready to read the book. So we are going to be blending those words we don't know. The first time through, I'm going to read the story with you, and the second time through, I'm going to let you read it. Okay? So this book is called Josh and Chip at the Farm. Josh and Chip at the Farm. And look at all the sight words that were in this sentence, in the title. And also, we've got Josh and Chip. Those words, those names, we've seen a lot now. So you probably know those in a snap, just like you know sight words in a snap. Okay, so again, I'm looking at all those words I do know, and when I get to a word I don't know, I'm going to sound it out. Josh and Chip get in a bus. Josh and Chip get in a bus. I hope you noticed that the first time was kind of choppy, so when I was done reading it, I went back and read it a second time. Okay, my next sentence says, remember this sight word? Where are they? This whole sentence was sight words. You read. Good job. Now, you might notice at the end, there's a question mark. That question mark is there because the sentence is asking a question. Where are they? They've just gotten off the bus and they don't recognize this place. Okay, now let's try reading together, and if we are at a word we don't know, we're going to blend it, sound it out. A cat is there. They chat with the cat. A lot of sight words in that one. Let's read one more time. A cat is there. They chat with the cat. Okay, let's try reading this together. When we get to words we don't know, we can sound it out. But we can use other strategies like looking at the picture, checking the beginning sound. There's lots of reader strategies we can use. They see a pig. I knew that was pig because of the picture. In a pen. Let's go back and make that smooth. They see a pig in a pen. There is a lot of mud. I knew this word was mud because I saw mud in the picture and I saw the beginning sound mm. You try reading that sentence. Okay. Next, they see a hen. I thought that the picture might be of a chicken, but I didn't see the ch sound, so I sounded it out and heard hen. And a rat. They see a hen and a rat. You read it. Great. They get on the bus. I knew that was bus because I saw it in the picture. Where do you think Josh and Chip are going at the end of the story when they get on the bus? You're right, they are heading back home. Remember, they told the cat, we'll come back and visit again. Now, it's your turn to read, so Get your pointer finger ready. If you get stuck, I want you to use that strategy of blending, sounding it out. If that doesn't work, you can ask an adult for help, or you can always go back to rewind this video and hear me read it one more time. Great work, boys and girls. How do you think Chip and Josh felt about their visit to the farm? I think they really enjoyed the visit to the farm, and I think that because I saw that they made a new friend in the barn cat, and they told her that they were going to visit again. So that's why I think they had a nice trip to the farm. Our reflecting on learning question of the day is, what were some things that you did when you got stuck on a word? What was that strategy we used? You're right, that strategy that we used was blending, and that was our target for the day, was to sound out those words. We also want to be really good at knowing our sight words in a snap. So if sight words are tricky for you, we do have some sight word videos up to help you practice sight words, or you can reach out to your teacher for more ways to practice. It's been wonderful reading with you guys, and I can't wait to read with you again tomorrow.